Hi, everyone. My name's Natalie. Okay, and this is our group presentation, but we'd like to start the presentation off with a poll. So if you guys can scan the QR code or just go to that link and vote on the little poll that we have available for you guys.
Yeah, so if you don't mind just like grabbing your phones or on your laptop, just quickly pull that link up.
So the first question that we want to ask you guys is if you've ever taken an online course. Yes. Oh, yeah, sorry. There you go.
Pretty much everyone's about ready.
Yeah? Do you want me to go back? Okay. Okay, you guys are ready? All right. Okay, so we're getting some answers. Thanks, you guys. And then, okay. I should go. Okay. No. Oh. Oh, sorry. And the second question we have for you guys should be available on your screen.
Yep, 2 participants out of. Yeah, okay. Cool. So most people.
All right. I think most people answered, but well, really cool, guys. Thank you for sharing your input with us. But basically, we're in an educated and we're in a very we're in a very knowledgeable room, and a lot of people do believe that an education is equal or even better than a traditional education. But what we found is that although online courses are virtually available to anyone through any institution to take, about 7.1 million students are currently enrolled in an online course, and this represents a fourth of all enrollment. And despite the perception that many may have about regarding basically the status and just the credibility of an online education, studies according to MIT actually believe that an online course is actually equal or greater than a traditional education. And although e-learning can seem really easy to just go online and you have the leisure of practicing your education at your own time, we're finding that there is actually a direct correlation between the success of a student enrolled in an online course and their motivation. So students who are taking online courses are not all doing really well. But what we're finding is that it is really those who are motivated and those who are willing to apply themselves despite their circumstance. And that's when we see the best results in online learning. But although online learning can seem virtually available to everyone, we found that it's really for a certain breed. And this breed is someone that we would classify as a warrior, someone who is strong-willed, someone who's willing to sacrifice and do what it takes, because you either have it or you don't. You are going to be in an online course, maybe scrape by and really not apply yourself, or you're going to be a person who's working 9 to 5 and really putting in all and showing all their dedication to their education. So no matter the obstacles they face, may it be whatever their situation is, they don't stop until they're done. And they hustle and they really value an education. So what we found is that online learning isn't for everyone, clearly, and it is for those who are strong-willed. And the way we want to position Miami Ad School from an e-learning perspective is that we understand it isn't for everyone, but we can provide the golden ticket, and we are here to help you and give you those resources if you are willing to do what it takes and if you prove yourself otherwise. And this leads us into our concepts that basically highlight the resources that Miami Ad School provides for people, given the strong alumni network, the high standard that we have as students, and the education and the experiences that we have, from agency exposure to real life pitches. We wanted to see that come to life in the most creative and virtual way possible. So I'm going to hand it over to my creatives.
So for our first concept, just to kind of reiterate what Natalie was saying with our insight, it's for we wanted to call it Burning Desire because we do feel that an online course does require a lot more motivation, a lot more interest, and a lot more desire to do what you're doing. It's not that you have a planned schedule that you have to keep up. It's just you doing it for you. So going back to our warrior is someone who, despite all obstacles, at the end of the day, makes it happen for themselves. There will always be an excuse, something that can hold us back. There may have been roadblocks to what we've wanted to achieve before, but now with Mass Online, you can fulfill your most burning desire.
All right. So, so how we executed that was literally taking the word burning and making that visual. So we would have a landing page for the online portion that has like this badass girl or woman, man, whoever, coming out of an explosion, kind of like those action movies, and with the little button that says "Fulfill your most burning desire, apply now." And then our other idea was to have a quiz, like kind of like a personality quiz on the website. I don't know if you guys ever took those quizzes in high school, like senior year, where it's like, oh, like what should your major be in college? And then like ask you all these random questions like, what's your favorite color, whatever. And they were like legit. We wanted to kind of take that and put it for mass, so people, you won't be confused of what track or what courses or what boot camp or whatever to take. It would kind of help you figure that out at the end. And then our other idea is to have a social media campaign where we would have testimonials of people that took the online portion of the program, and then have them just talk about how much they loved it and how much it fulfilled their passion that they had for advertising.
For our next concept, we wanted to kind of tackle the kind of barrier that online courses usually have, where it's like that lack of interaction, that lack of, coming to a place and applying yourself there. So we called this concept Choose Your Reality because we want to bring the online virtual education world, but also allow you to get the best of both worlds. So we want students to take part in real-time interactions with industry heroes, classmates, and boot camps of their choice, despite the fact that this would be a virtual education. Everyone knows that network is net worth. So Mass Online is here to provide a human touch to a virtual education.
So going along with that human touch to virtual education, we decided that it would be best to feature our recordings of lectures and guest speakers that we have that's super valuable here, but do it in VR and 360. So that way people can, kind of experience in VR. It's kind of the next wave, but also they'd be able to feel like they're in the room. And then as well, we wanted to sponsor global networking events. So, I mean, Mass does have like a very wide network all over the world, and we wanted to, make sure that people knew about these events that they were hosting and be able to attend them if it's close by to them, even though they're taking an online course. Which brings us to an app. I think it would be really interesting that an app that connects the students and allows people that have been in the program or that are in it currently to stay connected. Like something like a map maybe that shows like where current people are that are using the app. And then also something that like has a feed for your projects, or maybe you want to just post what's going on at your school right then. But we think that having that for an e-learning experience would really continue to make people feel connected and feel like they're here or wherever, whichever campus they're on in real life.
And finally, for our last concept, we thought that it would be interesting to kind of do a survival of the fittest. So kind of to prove, again, the warrior essence of the people who are taking this online boot camp or online course. We kind of want to ask, how bad do you want it? And in this boot camp is where you'll find out, because we want to find a way to incentivize online students to produce their best work and reap the rewards for it. So we want to structure it competitively, meaning that the top students will get opportunities that aren't available to just anyone.
Yep. To wrap it up, we're saying that these people are going to start their semester together, but every quarter they are going to have a 10% drop. So the people that are like the lowest 10% are going to be dropped. By the end of the program, you're graduating with your best friends because it's 70% of the original cohort, and there's going to be a huge incentive for those that are taking it. They're all taking it online, but those who do the best. So at the end, the top 3 students would be sent to a portfolio review in New York, like they do for us. However, because they're online, it would be actually like an extra special incentive. So thank you.
Thank you. Awesome job. I loved how you started your presentation. What a creative way to involve the audience, to use new technology, to sort of play off your own research with now your audience. And I thought that was brilliant. And then I really loved the way you spoke about your story. And I'm going to give you some tips on how you showed your story, because what you have done, which is a style, but I want you to try to close the loop a little more. You can still ask these questions, but they kind of dangle in the presentation, like are our perceptions accurate? Close the loop in your story building with, again, headlines, whatever it takes, a visual, it doesn't matter, a video, it's something that breaks it apart for people so it's a little more digestible, because you had some good points, but I'm left with these open questions, and I think you can help that presentation flow, right? But and I always love when you say who you're not for, right? And I think is a very good way of understanding a brand and a strategic decision. Sorry, I didn't put the time. And however, I think I need a little more support about this warrior. I mean, you ran with it. It is now this e-learning is scary to me. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know that that's how you want to come across. It could be you. I mean, I've taken it's like you're sort of playing into some fears versus maybe like barriers versus triggers. And so that's like a core foundation of a strategy is which one you're playing into. You tend to want to overcome the barriers, and I'd love to have seen some more support for this profile, because then when you go to your concept, the one concept that really does deliver on it. Can you go back to the last concept, the warrior one, the survival of the fittest? I'm terrified, like to start at this school. Do you know what I mean? So there's something interesting about the harder you work, the more you'll get out of it, and that there's a reward system, incentivizing. I just don't know if that's the whole brand story. I don't know how much time you gave me, but the other ones, there you have some real insight. Okay, sorry, I have to tell you about your strategy, because you have an insight, right? The strong-willed, willing to sacrifice, right? It's a very heavy, mindset to kind of try to promote maybe what is a scary leap for a lot of people. I don't know. I don't know that I buy into it yet. But if you could build that story a little stronger, I mean, at least you picked a lane. You know what I mean? And you built a story around it. What I want to just help you with is strategy articulation. Can you go back to your slide? I'll just tell you, it's the golden ticket for the strong-willed. Mass online can provide the golden ticket for those who are willing to do what it takes. Okay, all you've done is sort of say it's a golden ticket. Mass is a golden ticket. Your target is those who are willing to do what it takes. That's kind of how you capture your target. What's the benefit of mass online? That's where it's going to live and die. Like when you obviously talk your creative team through the whole story, but the main thing that now you're going to measure and sort of evaluate all the work on is whether that thought captures that core benefit. Because then what the work did was build off a couple of different ideas. One that I thought was really interesting was the human touch to a virtual education. This insight that your network is your net worth. I'm not sure that that's the driving insight for the audience for your whole campaign, but certainly an insight of some of the value of. So when the reason we call the brief a puzzle and people are starting to build in, at least the last presentation very clearly put reasons to believe. Those are very important. There's a lot of brand foundational work that goes into that alone. And we call it brand essence, whatever it is, it's the truth of the brand that will spark the idea that is also sort of fueled by that insight into the need, right? When those two come together, that's a brilliant strategy line. And that's why you need that proof of the brand, where this human touch to a virtual education is one aspect of a point of difference that maybe Miami Ad School offers in the world of e-learning. I don't have a sense yet of the e-learning landscape from anyone yet. Your competitive landscape, what makes mass different? Why should they choose mass for e-learning and some of the barriers? So that's just a challenge to everybody. But right now you don't have a strategy line yet. It's not, well, you could put the benefits that you want, the one benefit, the single-minded role for mass, or, reason to get people interested in e-learning and mass in that line, not just the golden tickets to, I don't know why yet. You know what I mean? The reasons to believe might help me understand what you mean by the golden ticket. See if you can articulate the actual strategic thought. The golden ticket feels like a executional kind of idea a little bit, because I'm not clear on what that means. And so play with that language. And then I'll let Juan talk about the creative.
Thank you. Well, first of all, Natalie, since the first presentation to this one, I see that you've gained a lot of confidence while you present, which is great. You know what I mean? Because it feels very good when you're honing into your strategy and doing a great job about telling that story. That's amazing, because that sounds convincing. I agree with Serena. It was an amazing way to start a presentation. It was kind of like, what's happening? I didn't understand. Is it really started? I was like, what? So it was a great surprise. You know what I mean? And in a way that helps having the audience right there where you want them, participating with you, engaging with you. Right when they're engaging with you, then you hit them with your strategy. Amazing. So for that, A+++++. You know what I mean? Then in terms of the creative, I think that the third concept is, I agree with Serena, it's off. You know what I mean? It's too dangerous, because in a way you're kind of fostering a rat race kind of deal. We don't want that, right? So it's kind of off brand in a way. Yes, this industry is competitive, but you don't need to amplify that perception. We want to make people it can be competitive, but not that competitive. You know what I mean? It's kind of unhealthy in that way. So then the other two concepts, I really do love the actual virtual reality is this one, right? But in my opinion, I think that this can be a component of a concept. You know what I mean? This is more of something that I love as a platform, to amplify the platform of e-learning. It's more about, that we're giving people access with the e-learning to this kind of environment, which is amazing, and I love it. But this as a concept is not a concept, you know what I mean? It serves a great purpose, because it's opening the range of the e-learning from a boring, simple class to a whole world of stuff that you can do, which is great. So executionally, love it. But it's, for me, missing maybe a concept element that, you know what I mean? It really doesn't land home in that way as a concept, but I do love it. Don't get me wrong, I do love the idea, because this is the kind of things that after you present a concept and an execution of the concept is the extra. So we're giving the e-learning this opportunity, but we want to do more. We want to differentiate from the rest of the e-learning options. We're going to do this, which is an amazing, this is amazing to close the presentation, as an extra killer. Cool. And then from a concept standpoint, I think that you guys did a great job as well to write down your rationales. It was great how you guys explained it, so it's clear. That's very important as well, so great job on that. Even though the third concept maybe it's off, and this is more execution, I do love this idea of the burning desire. There's something about it, but again, maybe it's missing something else to drive it home with the e-learning thing. I do love the quiz, a part of it, because it helps people, where should I start, right? So it's a good coming into the door. So it's great, like for the journey of that student that you want them to get into the door of the school, well, the virtual door, to start somewhere. Like, should I be an art director? Should I be a copywriter, a planner? So that's very cool. Great job, guys.
Yeah, and that might be where your magic is with the warrior and this burning desire. Something about the passion that you can maybe hone. Yeah, building out something a little less scary.